Salam alaikum, namaste, Sunny Bonani. I'm Sunita Vishwanath, co-founder and executive director of the US-based faith-based advocacy organization, Hindus for Human Rights. I am deeply honored to be with all of you today at this mosque, which has played such a historically important role during the movement to end apartheid, and today continues that legacy by openly rejecting homophobia and all forms of bigotry and being an inclusive house of worship. While my own religion, Hinduism, is the source of India's own 3,000 plus year old systemic and dehumanizing system of caste and caste hierarchy, as a progressive Hindu, I stand resolutely against caste and all forms of bigotry and apartheid. I'm a co-founder of a US-based advocacy organization, Hindus for Human Rights, and we are concerned about the human rights of all, particularly in India. Last January, just around India's Republic Day, Ruchi Chaturvedi spoke to you about the peril that India's democracy is in. And I am speaking to you today on the occasion of India's 75th Independence Day. Republic Day and Independence Day, these are usually days of great celebration in India and the diaspora. But just as Ruchi expressed in January, for anyone who cares about democracy and the rights of all, this is a time of great concern rather than celebration. Gandhi is perhaps the spiritual, political, ideological meeting place of South Africa and India. Nelson Mandela and Albert Luthuli were both inspired by Gandhi and Gandhi's method of satyagraha, or nonviolent civil disobedience, was their chosen method of political struggle. Nelson Mandela's granddaughter, Ndilika Mandela, recently joined all of us who are raising the alarm. She wrote, "Indian Islamophobia has corroded what was once the world's largest democracy. In South Africa, the Indian model mattered immensely. I know because my grandfather, Nelson Mandela, time and again referenced India's freedom struggle and India's freedom fighters as examples for how we could end, but also replace apartheid. Although India's leadership could have sought a more sectarian, authoritarian, or intolerant model of government, the young India instead pushed a democratic and pluralistic vision, which immensely influenced the rainbow nation we have tried to build in South Africa. But the India of today is decidedly not the India of 75 years ago." As India, the country of my birth, turned 75, several disturbing incidents took place both in India and in the United States, the country where I live. These incidents bring home to me the undeniable fact that the hate that has taken hold in India is also very prevalent in the diaspora. Leading Dalit rights leader and Hindus for Human Rights Advisory Board member, Martin McQuan, traveled with a huge group from Ahmedabad to Delhi with a massive brass coin made from the melted copper pots of poor villagers across India. There is a tradition in some Dalit communities that you put a coin in the foundation of a new house. So Martin G and his comrades were traveling with this huge coin engraved with the words, "Will the 1947 dream of an untouchability-free India become a reality in 2047? Offering it to be placed in the foundation of the new parliament building. This peaceful group was met by police at the Haryana border, wielding water cannons and prevented from entering Delhi. Just outside a Hindu temple in Queens, New York, someone broke a Gandhi statue, as well as a tulsi plant considered sacred by Hindus. A local Hindu politician held a press conference along with the temple and two Hindu American organizations, both Hindutva aligned. The speeches given were all very pro-Gandhi and characterized the vandalization as a Hindu-phobic hate crime. A 9-year-old Dalit boy in Rajasthan was beaten to death by his teacher for drinking from a water pot that was only meant for upper caste children. A group of 30 sadhus released a so-called draft constitution for the Hindu Rashtra being built by Hindutva forces currently ruling India. In this dystopian draft constitution, the capital of the proposed Hindu Rashtra is Kashi, and in it, Muslims and Christians will not have the right to vote. The existing legal system will be replaced by one fashioned on the lives of gods in the Treta and Dvapara yugas. These are ages or eons in the Hindu conceptualization of time, which are 2 million and 800,000 years ago, respectively. The education system will be an exclusively Hindu one. The existing parliamentary system will be abolished, and the new one will defer to the Varna system, that is, the birth-based caste system. The map in the new constitution is of Akhand Bharat, which means that the Hindutva vision is of the whole Indian subcontinent, including Pakistan and Bangladesh, as unpartitioned and Hindu. These sadhus are not fringe elements, and the Dharam Sansads, where they gather, are de facto campaign events for the BJP. This is hardly a secret. As one sadhu in the group stated, "We are sadhus of the BJP. BJP is like the crown of us sadhus." And on August 15th itself, Hindutva groups in New Jersey, in America, held an Independence Day procession in Edison, a large metropolis, in which they paraded bulldozers with Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath's photo. While we have all been aghast at the new government tactic of bulldozing the homes of those expressing their dissent through protest, particularly Muslims, falsely alleging that the houses are illegal structures, this is a preposterously brazen statement in New Jersey, saying, "We will bulldoze Muslim homes and there's nothing anyone can do about it." And among all the news about India's 75th, I noticed an August 12th headline in the Washington Post. As India marks its first 75 years, Gandhi is downplayed, even derided. A more muscular, chauvinistic India is casting aside the father of the nation for other heroes. Many will be angry that there are people like me expressing concern rather than exhibiting patriotism on Independence Day. We are called anti-national and worse. I would argue that the highest form of patriotism is dissent. It is an act of love for India to decry these and other instances of human rights atrocities and brazen expression of Hindutva hate. Furthermore, while we celebrate August 14th and 15th as the Independence Days of Pakistan and India, respectively, we are also commemorating the bloodbath that resulted from partition, in which over 1 million people were killed, perhaps 20 million displaced along religious lines. It is impossible to know how many millions of women were raped during the carnage. We must never let this horrifying truth of our history be lost in patriotic fanfare and flag waving. It seems to me a miracle that while partition took place along Hindu-Muslim lines, both Pakistan and India were created as secular nations where all have equal rights regardless of religion, and there's no one religious state. Of course, after some years, Pakistan became an Islamic nation, but India has now existed for 75 years under a constitution that states we are a secular democracy, a nation which may have a Hindu majority, but which promises to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. These are words authored by India's greatest Dalit leader, the architect of the Indian Constitution. That is what is under peril today. Since you are a mosque with a liberal and open-minded vision of your own faith, you will understand better than anyone the plight of a Hindu sister like me, someone who rejects the oppressive parts of Hinduism like caste, but who is motivated, propelled, guided in the world by the best parts of Hinduism, someone who strives to build, live, and be the best version of Hinduism one can imagine. For someone like me, there is a double heartbreak. One, that my beloved country of origin is headed on a path of further religious oppression and violence, and its democracy is in danger. And two, that this oppression is taking place in the name of my religion, my faith. The perpetrators are the Hindu majority, and the communities that are in existential danger are the Muslim, Christian, and other minorities. While I connect my own legacy to all the Hindu and other anti-caste reformers throughout history, including Gandhi, and am mobilizing Hindus to embody the best version of their faith, the Hinduism that is winning today, ruling today, is the worst form. The ideology of India's current rulers is Hindutva, or Hindu extremism. To say Hindu fascism isn't an exaggeration. There have been many critiques of Gandhi over the decades, that he was racist, sexist, and upheld the caste system. Critiques of Gandhi and all historical figures and present-day public figures are valid and appropriate. However, everyone who is concerned about declining democracy and growing violent Islamophobia in India today, as well as in the diaspora, must be aware of the disingenuous stance of the Indian government and the forces of Hindutva on the personage of Gandhi. They may be pro-Gandhi in their rhetoric, but their view on Gandhi is captured in the stark fact of history. It was a proponent of Hindutva that assassinated Gandhi. And today, Gandhi's assassin, Nathuram Godse, and V.D. Savarkar, the originator of Hindutva ideology, are the heroes for Hindutvadis, not Gandhi. Our critique of Gandhi as a man should not deter us from taking on the forces of hate that are decimating the inclusive and secular, albeit imperfectly so, India that he co-birthed. The consequences are too dire. Gandhi's grandson, Rajmohan Gandhi, is also an advisory board member of Hindus for Human Rights. He regularly advises us, there will be a day tomorrow when we can argue and debate the many important issues we are concerned with. But today, we must put aside our differences and unite in our fight against Hindutva. The oldest Hindu text, the Rig Veda, that introduces caste through a section called Purusha Shukta, also teaches us Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is one sacred family. Ano Badrikartavo Yantu Vishvataha, let noble thoughts come from all directions. These teachings invoke the same radical inclusiveness that I see you all embodying, an openness of heart and mind to each other across our differences, and to those of other faiths and opinion. The ultimate teaching is that we are all one. As Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, the ideal devotee is Paradukha Dukhi, one who sees the joys and sorrows of the other as one's own. In the Hinduism that I embrace, there is no other. The highest calling of my faith is to see myself and to see God in the face of every other person, regardless of race, religion, caste, gender, and regardless of whether we even share the same opinion on divisive issues. India was born out of Hindu-Muslim enmity, division, fissure. The founders of India, especially Gandhi, were devoted to Hindu-Muslim ekta, or unity. Gandhi was killed by Nathuram Godse, one of the earliest proponents of Hindutva, people who wanted India for Hindus alone and believed that India must be militarily secured for Hindus. The seeds sown over 100 years ago by the founders of Hindutva ideology are bearing their strange and horrifying fruit today. India is undeniably on the path to being transformed from a secular and inclusive democracy to a Hindu Rashtra, a Hindutva Rashtra, where Muslims are not welcome, cannot vote, and whose lives will be in constant danger. And the worst possible eventuality, one which has been deemed by several respected international organizations, such as Genocide Watch and the US Holocaust Museum, as very possible, indeed likely, is a genocide of Muslims in India. Hindus for Human Rights has committed ourselves to Hindu-Muslim Ekta, indeed the unity of all the glorious diversity of Indian society, including people of all castes, faiths, as the cornerstone of all that we do. We conduct all our advocacy in partnership with Muslim, Dalit, Christian, Sikh, and secular organizations, and we take every opportunity to add a Hindu voice to the resistance to Hindutva. We also take every opportunity to extend a Hindu hand of love and solidarity to the communities being targeted by the hate and violence. It is love and solidarity that I'm bringing to you all today. We believe that what is being attacked is our diversity, our right to be together in relationship across all our differences. The strongest response, the strongest resistance is our defiant unity. Hindus and Muslims of conscience must cling together and refuse to be divided. I will end with a line from one of Gandhi's favorite bhajans. Ishwar Allah tero naam, sabko sanmati de Bhagwan. Ishwar and Allah are both your names. O Lord, bestow wisdom on us all. Thank you.